All right, everyone. Welcome to another podcast here at the Women's MTB Network. Today, I am super excited because we have Chelsea Kimball, the trailblazing pro rider known for her fearless style and relentless passion on the podcast. Chelsea's been pushing boundaries in freeride, carving her path in the sport that demands both physical strength and mental toughness for years. From competing in some of the most challenging events like Red Bull Rampage to inspiring the next generation of female and male riders, Chelsea's journey has been nothing short of remarkable. So today we're going to have a quick chat with her. We're going to dive into her career highlights, the challenges she's overcome, and her vision for the future. So welcome, Chelsea. How are you doing today?
Hello, I'm doing really good. It's great weather here in Utah. My friend's letting me use his house for his internet. So yeah,
Oh,
doing good today.
sweet. Where in Utah are you staying around the Virgin area?
Yeah, currently I'm in Tokerville, which is like just on the north end of like Virgin and Laverkin.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I heard there was a gnarly storm like right after Rampage. Did you get hit with that?
Yeah, it rained a bit. We had wet dirt. It was amazing, and the temperature dropped. We were in like multiple sweatshirts, pants. It
Oh,
was
no.
so windy and freezing cold, like crazy difference.
So then the weather was perfect for Rampage, I guess, right? Because that's what we
Uh,
wanted. Well, minus the wind, like we could do without the wind, but you
yeah,
know, the
yeah, it
wind
was
was
pretty
not.
good.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about all things, but I really do want to start with Rampage, and I want to share this little story with you. My godson is 8, and he just started riding bikes, right? Like actually getting into riding a bike. And I showed him some clips from Rampage, and I love this kid. I'm super tight with this kid. And I was like, you want to see this jump? So Ryan Rodriguez shared with me a practice run of yours from the day before where you hit that last jump on your line.
Hmm.
And I don't know how far that was. It looked like it was like 50 feet. It was like a 50-foot drop. Was that right?
Yeah, the drop takeoff to landing is 51 feet.
Jesus. So that's what little CJ saw. And he looked at me and he's like, Auntie Mia, that's crazy. Can I do that? And I was like, of course you can do that, buddy. And then he looked at a couple more photos and he goes, her bike's a specialized. That's my bike. I have a specialized. So he's all like, wants to be like Chelsea when he grows up. He was so excited about it.
Awesome.
I'm sure you've been asked this question so many times, and I think we touched on it a little bit when I got to interview you the day before the race, but let's start with, how are you feeling post Rampage?
Yeah, post Rampage, like right after I was like, oh yeah, let's go ride. And then now I feel like I'm definitely coming down from a little bit of a Rampage high. And I kind of just
Yeah.
want to like relax and maybe go on a trail ride. Just because I feel like it was so much focus and effort and adrenaline and like all the nerves and everything for such an extended period. I feel like it's definitely coming back down to reality right now.
Yeah. So do you have any plans to just chill for the rest of the year and then maybe start working out for something next year?
My plans this winter are like totally new. My dad helped me purchase some property in California. I'll be back there hopefully by the end of the week. And the property is like, I'll live in my van on the property, but, I'm just there to build jumps. So I'm so excited to
Nice.
start a project. So I have my own training grounds. I'll be able to host events. Like I'm excited to let other people come ride jumps once I get them in. So it's huge
That's
for me.
amazing. That's so amazing.
Yep.
Look out, people. Chelsea's got her own competition coming out. I mean, can you share where around in California, North, Central, Southern?
Yeah, it's
Because
kind of considered Northern California. It's called
okay.
Grass Valley. It's about an hour from Sacramento in the Sierras.
Oh, that's not bad. That's
Yep.
awesome. Yeah, I'm in Southern California. So, I mean, whatever. It is what it is. Grass fed. That's congratulations, Chelsea. That's huge.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I bet. Well, that's a good post Rampage, project to have. I think
Yes.
that's awesome. So, how did you prepare when you heard that you were competing in Rampage? You got invited to compete. What was the first thing you wanted to start preparing? Did you want to prepare like training physically or mentally?
So I would say that my training started when the competition was announced, not when I was invited. Like as soon as they announced that there was a women's Rampage competition, I think I was
Oh,
with like Cami Nogueira and
yeah.
Hannah and our friend Anna Hui at the time. We all kind of learned together and we were all kind of the same. Like, okay, we start now and we just do everything we can to prepare. So that's like always a combination of both like training in a gym, just focusing mentally and maybe doing a few different things, but just riding as much as I could. And then also just trying to do as many tricks as I can and just repetition with it and hitting different features that
Yeah.
scare me. So it's kind of a whole package of both gym training, training on the bike, and mental preparation.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say, I don't know, I'm not at your level and I admire you so much, but I'd say that even for me, when I do the things I do around here in Southern California, the mental preparation aspect is the biggest thing when I'm trying to do something that's new and scary and different. So, when you were finally there and you got to scope out this virgin ground, did you see the possibilities were endless? Did you get a little scared, intimidated? Walk us through that.
Like, are you talking about when we had the course walk? When we picked up
Yes.
our number plates, we walked up the venue all together and just kind of
Yeah.
picked lines.
Yeah.
Let's see. Overall, I was super excited.
Yeah.
So I think all of the athletes prior like had um, we had like a photo, probably taken from a helicopter or something, a photo of the venue that showed the boundaries. And I gotta say, like, I definitely scoured that photo, like, oh, I wonder if I could do
Yeah.
this here, this there. And so seeing it in person is totally different, that's for sure. Seeing it in person, uh, I knew what I wanted to look at first, so I think that gave me a little bit of direction, like what part of the mountain looked more enticing to me. And so we had a bit of a direction. Going off Riders Right was definitely what I had looked at, but walking around there, I would say I wasn't super intimidated just because I think I'm used to kind of walking around and looking at lines out in Virgin. But with my diggers, it was definitely like totally focused, trying to figure out the options, but not dwelling on anything too much
Yeah.
because we didn't have endless time to look.
Yeah. Yeah. There was only a short amount of time. Ooh, excuse me, a short amount of time that you could go from picking, digging, and then doing the line, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. When I got there on that Wednesday, and sorry, your line, I was just amazed. No joke. Like, and then I was watching you practice and all the ladies, really, it's absolutely insane what you guys are doing. The level of progression, it's like I was talking to someone else. The men weren't doing these tricks and these size hits on their first user Rampage. So just to
That
see the women doing that,
hmm
right? Like
Robin,
no one, Robin's backflip?
we just the other day we went back up to like walk the venue and look at the other girls' lines, and the backflip that Robin did high on the mountain is huge. Like that is
Yeah.
a big jump, and it's crazy because she just had a landing that was probably 30 feet long or something before a hard left berm. And it's like
Yeah.
just the fact that she did the jump, she did the flip, but in the competition run, she did a big flip, landed deep, but landed perfect, made the corner so well, like just so impressive.
Yeah, it really was. I think someone said it was 41 feet from takeoff to landing with that backflip. I think I saw that somewhere. I don't know. It's
Maybe,
impressive.
I
You
don't
got
know.
what you ladies do, it just blows my mind and I'm absolutely in awe of your talent and your skill. So here we go. Let's see. I had someone because I was telling one of my buddies, do you know the girls who run that meme page, Girls Pull Up, Not Out?
I don't know the girls behind it, but I've definitely seen the page.
Yeah, so they're some friends of mine, and Becca is rides for Specialized too, and she is a bit of a bike nerd like me, and we're wondering how did you prepare and like tune your bike for the hits you were doing, right? Because
Hmm.
like how long did that take for you to really get everything the way you wanted it to?
Okay, so this is kind of an interesting one. I don't know if you heard, but I switched bikes after the first practice day.
I did not know that.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. So all summer I was on my Status 170 DH, and
Uh-huh.
I was like trying, since we knew that it was possible that I would compete, like I was thinking, okay, what can I do to my bike to make it the best it possibly can so that I can do the best I can at Rampage? So I was looking at what suspension could I get that would make me stick to the ground more?
Yeah.
What like I ended up making not geometry changes to my bike, but the status comes as mullet, 29 in front and 27 in back. And I decided to make it full 27.5, put a full length 200 millimeter fork up front that's a 27.5. So
Damn.
basically the geometry stayed the same, but it gave me more travel.
Yeah.
And so like I made a bunch of changes like that, just tried to figure out what settings, like how I could run my brakes to where they work the best. I got out to the first practice day and I crashed twice on my drop in the middle. I had a bigger, like it was a roll drop into like a bigger drop, and
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't stop when I landed that bigger drop. And I crashed twice, and I was like pretty flustered. Like the first crash was like, it was a pretty hard crash. The
Dang.
next crash wasn't as bad, but I was like close to flying off the cliff. And I was just like, oh my gosh, if I can't control my speed, like what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
So the first practice day was tough. And one of my friends, Eric, my digger, was like, well, what about the demo? I was like, then this thought entered my mind. Okay, I've been riding the status all summer to get ready, so I haven't even spent any time on the demo, but I do know the demo inversion, it sticks to the ground. I have a lot of traction. So late that night, like we got back from digging, or like back from practice, probably at like 9:30. I get my demo out of my van. I hadn't ridden it in months.
Oh my
And
gosh.
like just make sure it's all together, tires are aired up, suspension is aired up, and took it to practice the next day. So yeah, I switched bikes for the second day, and it ended up being the right decision. But that being said, on my demo, I pretty much didn't do anything to it. It's the I checked the air pressure, but I don't think I changed it. Just bounced on it, made sure it felt good, and
Oh
ran
my
with it.
God. You're amazing. I can't believe that. Did you feel pretty comfortable then after practicing on it on one day that you were going to be solid with it the next day?
Well,
Because that's crazy.
so the first day was the saddest. Second day, I got to the Rampage venue, and it was like I didn't really want to go up and just try to ride my line after not riding that bike for forever. So
Right.
instead of starting at the venue, I dropped my diggers off for them to start like working a little bit more. And then I drove over to a spot that we call like the TGR jump. It's basically,
Mm-hmm.
there's a little ridge that you can ride with a 5 foot drop or something and then a jump. So I went over there just to do a few laps on the bike to make sure I was comfortable. So I didn't just throw myself into the deep end on a bike that I haven't ridden, dropping into Rampage.
Right.
So that helped a ton. And yeah, after that little bit of warm up on it, I was comfy, and I just like also mentally was trying to tell myself like I can ride any bike. Maybe it feels a little bit weird, but it's a bike. I know it, and it'll go well.
Yeah, that's insane, Chelsea. My mind is going to so many questions right now, but you're right. Like, you're a pro and you can ride pretty much any bike. I know special bikes are different. I mean, every bike is different from brand, right? Depending especially on suspension and all that kinds of stuff. I enjoy riding a specialized bike. So I guess maybe because you've been on them for a minute, you're used to that type of
Hmm.
suspension and all that, right?
Yeah.
But wait, speaking of that, I was talking to Curtis Keene a couple weeks ago,
Hmm.
and he told me that he rode with you out here in Rocky Peak, I think it was.
Yep.
And he was telling me, I was like, I'm getting ready for Rampage, dude. Like, I'm super excited. I went to pick up a bike from him that we're demoing, and he's like, dude, Chelsea's the bomb. Like, I saw her riding one time, and I was like, we got to get you on the bike. So, how long ago was that? Do you remember that encounter with Curtis?
That, yep. That's how I got hooked up with Specialized. It was 2019. In like December of
Oh,
2019, I had just come back from Thailand. I was racing there like with Cody Kelly. And that's when he first got on Specialized. So I didn't know I was going to ride with like Cody and Curtis and like some other people from Specialized. I just thought I was riding with my friend.
yeah.
But yeah, we go up, do some laps at Rocky Peak, and I was on a KHS at the time that I had had for a few years. And Curtis was like, I think we could try to get you a bike. So yeah, it was like, to me, it was so cool that I just was able to meet like super kind and nice people that tried to help me out.
Yeah, I think I remember him telling me, he's like, dude, she kept up with me. I kept looking back to see where she was. She was on my tail the whole time. And I was like, yeah, dude, yes. Okay, so the day of Rampage, the day of competition, how are you feeling? New bike, rode it once. Were you feeling pretty solid?
Yeah, I was feeling pretty solid. My third day of practice, because we got 3 practice days. The third day of practice went as good as I could have ever dreamed of. I kind of had a plan once I got there in the morning to go up to the top of the course, take off my first drop, and do the first drop into the step up, and then do the middle double drop section and then do the last drop. And I had done the morning session. I hit the last drop one time. So by the morning session, the third day of practice, I had everything ridden. I just hadn't connected it all. So that evening, I went back up for the evening session. The wind was great. I was able to connect the double drop into the last drop. And to me, that was like, okay, I've got everything. It's easy to connect. I got this. Like, it was the best
Yeah.
practice day I could have asked for. So going into competition day, I was feeling good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was feeling good.
We saw from the top to the bottom. I afterwards heard you were mic'd up, right? And that was so insightful to hear your train of thought, to like get in your head, and when you're telling yourself to break or slow down or you got this. Like, did you think about you being mic'd up at that moment? Or were you just purely 100% like focused? I'm gonna say you were 100% focused, but I had to ask that
Yeah.
question.
Oh yeah, definitely. When they like put the mic on me, and then I think it's actually a crazy microphone. It was super flat on the shirt, so I didn't feel it. And then the part that actually like takes the audio was like bendable. I don't know how they do that, but I was able to put it in my
What?
pocket and I didn't think about it at all.
That's amazing. And I gotta say, I got really freaking scared when you did that first little slip. No, no one was expecting it. From where I was standing, it looked like you're gonna fall off the cliff, but you gotta totally admire your fucking grit, girl. Like, you got up there and you're like, where's my bike? Let's fucking go. And we're just like yelling. It was the coolest thing. What was your headspace at that moment? Did you just want to
uh
finish?
Well, I was bummed because I had in the practice run before that, I was top to bottom, clean. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I wanted that so bad, just a clean top to bottom run. And I was so bummed that I didn't get it. But I was up there, grabbed my bike. There was no wind. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna finish my run. Uh,
Yeah.
like hiking down from that point is actually really hard. You have to go around in the wash, and I was like, no way. Hitting this drop is way easier because I still felt good. The crash was like a light little roll,
Yeah.
and the bike was fine. So yeah, just doing the drop felt like what I wanted to do. It's actually a pretty fun drop.
Yeah, it looked freaking insane. I've seen it from a couple different angles and it looked crazy. You said 51 feet, right? From
Hmm.
takeoff to landing. That's
Yep.
crazy. After everyone was seeing it, my phone started blowing up and one of my friends, Amanda, goes, how did she get up and finish that? Like, how did she just get up and hit? And so now you've just answered it. It's because you're
Yep.
awesome and you're a pro. That's
I
insane.
I have another fun fact. My friend Blake was like a guest judge. Not She didn't judge this year, but she's like, I guess maybe a little
Yeah.
bit in training to be a judge. And she told me that we have 3 minutes to get from the start gate to the finish line. And she
Right.
told me that I had like 20 seconds left to get to the finish line. And if
Oh,
I didn't do
shit.
it in that time, then I wouldn't have put up a score. Like, I had no idea and I wasn't concerned about it because I knew I crashed. Like, it's not a good score anyways.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's kind of cool to know that like I did get down in time to get the score
Hell
with only
yeah.
20 seconds left.
Hell yeah. And now you know for the future. I don't think it'll happen again, but at least you know it's 3 minutes to get down, right?
Yep.
So let's take a step back a little bit. And I kind of want to ask you something I ask everyone, which is, how did you get into mountain biking?
I got introduced to mountain biking through my friend CJ. She was one of my diggers out here.
Yes,
And
I met her. She's
yep,
awesome.
yeah, she just went home the other day, so I miss her already. But
Yeah.
yeah, basically she was my climbing partner. We were both rock climbers. That's why we became friends. And You were too.
Me too. I took a 15-foot fall and broke my neck, which is why I
Oh.
don't climb anymore. But we'll go into that later. Yes.
But yeah, basically she was my climbing partner in Big Bear, and she got a job at a bike shop. Totally fell in love with mountain biking, didn't want to climb anymore. So it kind of pushed me to start mountain biking because I lost my climbing partner.
Oh, dang.
Yep. So
But
yeah,
wait, do you guys still climb? You don't climb at all?
she goes to the climbing gym sometimes. I've actually went climbing like 2 times this year outside, and that's more than I have in a long time. So I still
Yeah.
climb, but it's kind of like the priority is low. Like I always
Yeah.
choose to mountain bike over climbing, but I still absolutely love climbing and want to do more of it in the future.
Yeah, rock climbing is the best. For me, it was the most challenging. To me, it's most challenging mentally than mountain biking,
Yeah,
especially outdoors.
it's the same kind of fear and risk assessment and pushing yourself, definitely.
Yeah, yeah, especially if you're sport climb or trad climbing.
Hmm.
No. Well, that's cool. So you got into doing mountain biking. So how did you go from starting to mountain bike at Big Bear, I guess, which is a pretty cool spot to start mountain biking,
Hmm.
and then to like this kick-ass free rider? Like, how long did that take between like Big Bear to now?
So yeah, I'd say like 2014, 2015. I rode quite a bit, but it was
Yeah.
all like trail riding. In the beginning, I didn't really have a want to compete. My friends
Mm-hmm.
would always try to get me to sign up for a race or something, but I was always like, well, I could go to these places and just ride for fun instead of like trying to do one trail over and over. So I really rejected the competition aspect a lot in the beginning. I'd say
Yep.
2016 was the first year that I actually raced a little bit. It was in Winter Park, Colorado, and I did
Mm-hmm.
the local race series that they have at Winter Park. And I'd say that series and that summer was when I like kind of got a little bit hooked on racing. Like it was just cool to go to these races and see the same people, kind of have like friends that you're racing against every time. Like there's definitely a good community around it in the United States. So
Yeah.
that was kind of the turning point that I wanted to race a little bit more. 2017, I went out east to race, and that was like full on addicted to like competing and like really
Yeah.
pushing it, trying to go fast, riding, like going over lines with friends on the course walks. And then that was the first season that I started jumping more,
Uh-huh.
like going to all
Uh-huh.
the downhill parks, just doing laps on the jump trails, trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And yeah, like from there, I raced downhill mostly, and then 2018, 2019 was like a progression in jumping. I really got addicted to jumping more and like trying to do some tricks. And yeah, it was just like, to me, it felt like a slow morph and progression to where I am now. But I
Yeah.
guess in the scheme of things, it's not a lot of time.
I mean, it just shows your talent. You're made for this. I think you're absolutely made for this. Who were some of your early like influences in mountain biking? Was it your
Uh,
buddies that you would ride with, or did you know a few friends, a few people that became like your role models that then influenced you into your style that you have now?
Yeah, I'd say for like professional athletes, I didn't know any of it outside of my little circle in Big Bear. I don't think I really followed any professional athletes until 2018 or 19. My
Mm-hmm.
mentors and like who I looked up to is definitely who I rode with. Like CJ, she's just always been so dedicated to progression and figuring out what's going to work
Yeah.
best and make it happen. And then in the beginning, like I have a friend named Bobby Bondurant. He lives in Big Bear
Mm-hmm.
still, and he was just always willing to go fast and take chances. And I rode with him a whole bunch at all the races. He still races a bunch. Um, I had a boyfriend back then named Ian, and he was a professional racer. And so I had lots of good people to follow and look up to and like give me tips and tricks and stuff. Yeah, so that
That's
I was
awesome.
pretty lucky with the community I was surrounded with.
Yeah, I think the mountain biking community as a whole is pretty awesome and supportive in that way, regardless of gender. So would you say like your friend Bobby and CJ kind of influenced your style a little bit?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100% for the racing aspect. Let's see. When I started jumping more, uh, who was influencing then? Like, uh, Yeah, when I started jumping more, I had a crew of friends that we always rode with around Rampage out here in Virgin. That we'd just like go out and find a hip, some random hip way out in the desert, rebuild it, and
Yeah.
just hit it a whole bunch. So yeah, I've always just really looked up to my friends because they were always so passionate about it. They had their own style, were like learning and pushing themselves just because they wanted to.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's the kind of environment you want to be around, is having all your friends around you, pushing you, making you better, you know? I love that so
100%.
much. So, in regards to your riding style, then, I'd say that you're pretty fearless. After doing what you did at Rampage and I'm witnessing that in person, honestly, I think you're fearless. So, do you find that, do you still have fear when you're doing those things? And do you find that that actually helps you ride better? Or how do you feel? How do you
Um,
approach something like that?
so I guess like I get scared so easily for sure. Um, so fear is a huge part of it, but I would say that in a situation, especially like Rampage or any event, I guess, I just have to use like focus to get through it. Like you could hear me mic'd up, like going over my line, and that's kind of like that competition day. I was kind of just doing that over and over to where I focus on what I need to do and I know that I can do it. So just focus on every step so that I don't let fear or nerves get involved.
Especially because you know what you're doing, right? Like you've done it before, you've cleaned the line. So that's kind of your mental strategies, just compartmentalizing it every step of the
Hmm.
way, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's a particular feature that you find most thrilling to do? Like, what gives you that, yes, I want to hit that feature? If you had to pick one, what would it be
Like feature on my line or just any
on your
feature
line?
anywhere?
Yeah, on your line.
Uh, let's see. Probably that big drop at the bottom. Like it actually turned out to be really fun. And I guess part of that is the fact that I was able to be so consistent on it, like
Mm-hmm.
helped take that fear away. Like every time I hit it, I was kind of within a 5 foot zone, like up or
Okay.
down. And then side to side, like all my tracks were in pretty similar place. So with the consistency, it kind of became more fun because I knew I had it. I knew I had the
Yeah.
speed. I knew the landing was smooth and the run out was good.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, so then when you're at a bike park, for example, what are some of the features that you look for, like that you want to do that's fun for you, that calls your
Mhm.
name, you know?
I love floaty jumps. So
Ooh.
so just like a jump that sends you up. Like jumps that send you more out, they're fun too. But I'd say my favorite jump in the world is the first rocket launcher at Dark Fest. Like the
Uh-huh.
lip is probably 23 feet tall and the gap, I don't even know how big the gap is, but it just sends you so high. You're in the air for so long, just like going up and then floating
Oh my
nicely
God.
back down to a landing. I love the floaty up jumps for sure.
That sounds absolutely terrifying, but I love that you love that so much. That's great. That's great. I'm gonna have to pull that up, that rocket launcher at Darkfest that you're talking about. I want to see that now.
Oh,
I
it's
don't remember
incredible.
it. Um, I think, I kind of wanted to shift a little bit to more of the women representation in mountain biking. I don't usually like to focus on this because I want to focus on how we're progressing and how mountain biking is just becoming its own thing. Women have their own space at the table, right? Um, do you think your experience in the sport, have you seen a lot of changes just in the last 5 to 6 years since you've really become like a racer and gone on to specialize? Have you seen like a growth and things change for women in mountain biking?
Um, I think, like as far as just riding in general, I see so many more women everywhere, and that
Yeah.
is awesome. Like out here in Virgin, there's so many women. For like 2017 through 2019, there was like maybe me and two other girls riding out here, and
Yeah.
I went out to the old site after Rampage, and there's like 20 girls riding and hitting the jumps, and I'm like, yes, so cool. Um, so cool. But for the industry side of things, I think there are a lot more opportunities now. I think that I kind of got into this to like the professional level of the sport at the right time. I feel like I've gotten really lucky and caught the industry when their eyes were already on women.
Yeah.
I think if you ask the other ladies that have been around and trying to make a career of it a lot longer than me, then they'll have more insight.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I've gotten really lucky because people are noticing women more now.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. What advice would you give for like young racers nowadays? Because I know they're all watching. I get messages from ladies all the time, like, "Hey, can you ask them this? I'm so excited for Rampage." So, is there an advice you can give for young women who are trying to break into the sport of free ride?
hmm let's see, like for any of the aspects of mountain biking, whether it's enduro, downhill racing, free ride, cross country, um, I I can say the things that I think have helped me of just
Mm-hmm.
like going to events and being present and like nice to people, like meeting friends. You never know when you're going to be at a random trailhead or race and then you meet Jim and Jim happens to be the owner of a big company. Like you never know. So it never hurts to be nice and friendly um, with people. And then otherwise, another thing, like it doesn't hurt to ask. Say there's
Yes.
a race you want to go to or a jam that you want to be in, but nobody has invited you. Like find as many people as you can and just let them know, hey, I would love to be a part of this. Like you may not get invited. They may say no, but come to the table with just like a want to be there and let them know like it's just something that you want to do and it's not going to
Yeah.
hurt to ask. They may say no,
Yeah.
but they may say yes. And they may say no 3 years in a row, but then the fourth year they say yes. So just like ask, try, and keep trying.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. The no fear in trying, no fear in asking. I think that's
hmm
great. Putting yourself out there is the only way you're going to achieve what you want, really, or what you
hmm
want to inspire to be. That's amazing. That's great advice. I love that. So then for the upcoming goals for next year, I know we talked about you having your property and building all these fun jumps and really cool spots for people to come and train and or race or do all the amazing things you probably want to do. But are there other competitions you're looking forward to for next year that you can share with us?
So I mean, Proving Grounds, I think that's coming
Right?
back in New Zealand. So that's definitely something I'm looking forward to. I may try to do Hardline Tasmania, but I'm not totally sure because I'm not a big racer anymore. Like
Mm-hmm.
those World Cup girls are so fast. I know I can't hang. But Cami and Hannah both might be doing it. So we'll see. Maybe I'll try to get into Tassie. But other than that, I'm limiting my traveling next year. I'll be
Yeah.
going to Darkfest definitely, and probably Crankworks and again Cam Zink's event.
Yep.
But I really want to dedicate my time to my property and building the line, but also
Mm-hmm.
training so I can go bigger and better at Rampage next year.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. So Rampage next year is in sights,
hmm
right?
Oh yeah. I'm
Well,
not I may like I have to get in again. Only the top four
right.
rioters are protected, so I gotta do another edit and send in a video and hopefully they let me back in, but fingers
Oh, I'm
crossed.
sure. Oh, I'm sure. After that line, girl, after that hit, like I have no doubts that you're going to be back next year at all. I'd love to see. Do you think CJ would even submit? Do you think CJ would
Oh,
be at
for sure.
Rampage?
Yeah, she's
She's
actually
kick ass.
she's coming back out here this winter just for training and filming, so she's definitely trying as well.
Hell yes. She was so sweet when I met with her and talked with her. She's so good.
hmm
Such an amazing human being. Okay, if you were not a professional mountain biker, what do you think you'd be doing today?
I'd be doing all of the sports that I love, which are rock climbing, slacklining, skiing, mountain biking, uh, hiking, like big backcountry adventures. Yeah. So all of that, but for work, I'm an arborist. I stopped doing it when I signed my first like contract with Specialized. But yeah, I
Yeah.
love doing tree work, removals and pruning, and yeah, it's really fun.
What? We'll have to talk offline for that because I work for an environmental firm and we're always looking for arborists. It's too bad you're a pro biker now, but that's pretty cool. I love that. I love that. All right. So do you think that by building your new place, is that going to be your way of like unwinding post Rampage? Do you find comfort in like that being a downtime for you, even though it's going to be physically intensive?
No, there's no downtime involved. I want to get after it. Yeah. The
It's just
downtime
one
is
thing.
now,
The
is before
downtime
I
is
get to
now.
my property. Hmm.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's pretty cool. I mean, if you need help from anyone, like we're always willing to go there. And Jess Hannah is going to be moving close to that area for the winter time. We're going to be heading up there and doing some fun stuff. So the story she told was, I can't remember where you were, but she was riding. This would have been like in 2018 or 19.
Hmm.
And she said she saw you doing this really crazy line coming down, and you were really sweet. Like you took off your helmet and she had fangirl. She was like, "Oh my God, that's Chelsea." And then you were like, "Hey, do you want to come ride with us? Do you want to come do a lap?" And she was like, "Me? You're talking to me?" She's like, "You're sweet, but no, I can't do that." It was so funny. She's hilarious.
Well, she'll have to come back out. We got to ride together.
I know. I'm gonna tell her that we've spoken here on the podcast. I'll connect you guys because I think she's super keen to connect and ride with you again. That'd be so sick. Chelsea, we're almost running out of time because I don't want to keep you. I know you're busy trying to do your downtime, which I would be too. I mean, you were just at Rampage. But is there any last things that you want to leave us in regards to Rampage? Is there anything that we didn't cover that you wanted folks to know about your process for Rampage and you know how you went about your line? Like, is there something that we left that maybe you wanted to let people know about it?
Let's see. Like there's a big learning curve for digging.
Yes.
There's a huge learning curve for digging, just the process of digging. Like how do you build a landing? How do you start? And there's a really big learning curve. So if you want to learn about it, I'd highly recommend like coming out to Virgin and maybe not building something new, but go find a drop that's there and like rebuild the landing. See what it takes. Like make a bunch of mistakes, because after quite a few mistakes, you'll learn what works best and what works best for you. So that's a big thing.
Did you and your diggers take a long time to figure that out? Because you had 3 diggers, right? You had it was a crew of 4, including yourself.
3 diggers. So CJ's dug with me for the last 2 formations. So we've got a lot of experience digging together. Then my friend Eric, that was another digger, he's built a whole trail out here. So he's got tons of experience himself. And then Will White, my last digger, like has competed at Rampage for 4 years, I think. So we're all pretty, I feel like my team was so dialed. Like we moved so much dirt in such a short period of time. And I think just knowing the process and what to do first and second and third, like helped a ton. So yeah.
Dang. So you think you'll have the same diggers next year if possible?
Let's see. Maybe. The only difference, Ryan Rodriguez was supposed to be my third digger, but the day before the course walk, Ryan over-rotated a backflip and really messed up his whole upper body pretty much. So that might be a difference, but otherwise, I think I'll have the same diggers.
Yeah, he told me, I think he broke some ribs or something. The poor guy. I felt so bad for him.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of pain.
Yeah, poor guy. You have been absolutely amazing. Thank you for your time. I love chatting with you. This has been great. And I cannot wait to see all the amazing things you do this year, including Rampage again, because I want to see, like, I'm just ready. Like, we're all ready. And I couldn't believe it when my godson, he's like, I want to be like her, Auntie. I want to be like Chelsea. And I was like, yes, we've made it.
Oh, so cool.
That was the cutest thing. Yeah, thank you again. And I can't wait to see what you bring on for next year.
You're welcome. Yeah, hope to talk to you again sometime.
Yeah. Have a good one.
Bye.